I know I turned voices down here. So, okay. All right. So YouTube, you should be able to hear by now. Let's go back to, okay.
Koshida, please, you cannot be heard.
So turn that down. Okay. All right. Okay. I think the guys on Facebook can hear us because I'm seeing people responding. Okay. Leah says, we can hear you on Facebook. Leah, it's great to see you. We have a conversation that we owe each other. So I'm going to look for you, I promise. And then Lillian says, turn the volume up, please. I hope you can hear us now, Lillian. Let us know if you can't. And then Sarah Wangoi says, guys, Sarah here from Roy. 6 years now on the 7th. Always glad to be here. So good. Tony Mukiri says, 5 years married. Oh my goodness. That's awesome. Tony says, we can hear you. Awesome.
This is fantastic. Even on YouTube now.
Okay, now they can hear.
Now, yeah.
My fault. I take full responsibility. I was not born a techie. I'm just one of those guys who had to learn in my old age. Nick Kimaru says, YouTube is good to go now. So thank you so much, Nick. And Mutai Kip says, I can hear you. Awesome. Victoria Omange says, just chanced upon your vid. Thank you, Victoria. Oh my goodness. She's just minding her own business. Checking out her Facebook, and she showed up here. So you're in the right place. You're in the right place. Elsie, you're calling me grandpa. What's up with that? Like that.
Elsie,
like that is
really?
Such a low blow coming from you, Elsie. Goja, that one is 10 mil.
We know how to
I know where to find you. I know where you live. Frazier says perfect. Tony Maloba says 5 years. And Lillian says, I can hear you.
All right. On Facebook, we have Lorna Sigen.
On YouTube, you mean?
Yeah, on YouTube, we have Viola. She can hear. There's Emma Cherotich. Good to see you. Life Pillars Counseling and Consultancy. Welcome.
Oh, wow.
Revealed
That's
Evangelical. Awesome. You're so early, honestly.
Like
one day we should see
from
your
Berlin.
face.
Please, yeah, we need to hook up. We've been seeing your name all this time. Yeah.
Then we have George Odhiambo. George, if you're married, tell us how long you've been married. And then Irene, tell us also how long you've been married. And Mark, tell us how long you've been married.
Okay. Elsie says, no, that was for Nick. Okay. Elsie, you're forgiven. Thank you for clearing the air. I was kind of catching feelings right now. I thought we were good friends. But it's really good to see all of you here. I can see Ivan Figueroa from Puerto Rico. Pastor Ivan, we've been keeping up on Facebook. By the way, we've never met. But I feel like we're brothers now from just connecting on Facebook.
That's nice.
I know he leads a great church there. And hopefully one day we'll get to visit you in Puerto Rico. But you're always welcome to come visit us in Kenya as well. Elsie, you know you're not in trouble. Lillian says 9 years now. Lillian Akeo, so that's so good.
Yeah, Revealed Evangelical Mission has been married for 9 years.
Oh, wow.
Irene, 2 years. George, 10 years.
So it's quite a variety here.
Yeah.
It seems it's almost like from 2 to around 11 seems to be like the main range around here.
Yeah.
Any old timers here? All these people are like younglings, huh?
Yes.
Like how long have you been married?
26.
Okay, yeah. I wasn't asking because I don't know. I was just checking to see if she knows. So yeah, great. It's so good to have every one of you. Keep checking in. By the way, it's so good to be here as well. We had a long, like today, it was like a long day, huh?
Yes.
We had to do a long road trip to your shags.
All of Moranga. I mean, you know when you say it's a long road trip, really, I think there's some people here who take offense.
Like going to your shags is like 2 hours. It's like a 1.5 hour.
1.5.
Yeah, that's
as in
long,
we
man.
left at what time did we leave? We left at 9:30.
Yeah, but we just got home. We just got home. So my thoughts are still scrambled. And my goodness, there was such a big conversation today going on in our in the Asking for a Friend Facebook group. So we're going to be coming back to that and just really talking about our topic for the night. I can see we need to keep moving because our mystery guests are checking knocking. In. They're knocking at the door. Yeah. By the way, who are we? We're Moravi and Karo Wanjao, or Karo and Moravi Wanjao. I promised I'd be introducing her first because this is actually her show. And we do this show. It's called Ndoa. Does marriage really work?
Yes.
And it's not to be confused. By the way, it's always confused with Ndoa, which is a 10-week experience that helps build a foundation for your marriage. So many couples today are walking around without a foundation, a strong foundation for their marriage. So that's what Ndoa helps you to do. And because of that, I mean, we've been having this conversation about rebranding. I mean, it's like we can't call this both of those things now. So.
Yeah, it's quite confusing.
Yeah, so you had an idea.
So we had this idea.
You had this idea.
I'm being disowned.
No, not. I mean, it was the idea. I'm just giving you credit.
All right, so I had this idea that we simply call it Asking for a Friend, which is really what Tuesday is all about. The Ndoa community gets to have an asking for a friend day, which is today, Tuesday.
Yeah. So
I thought,
yeah.
why not call it that? If you agree with me, just put a thumbs up.
Okay. So we're really talking about rebranding this show. Stop calling it Ndoa, because people get confused all the time.
Confusing.
They think this is a 10-week experience, and we're thinking about calling it asking for a friend.
Yes.
So that's what Carol thought. I was quite feeling it, but
yeah. So all those in support, just put a thumbs up right there.
Okay. And I mean, that's unfair, but okay. And I mean, she usually has good ideas anyway, so I just don't feel them at the beginning. So I know I'll come around to feeling it. So we run. So that one of the things we run is the Ndoa Couples Community, which Carol has mentioned, which is a community, a network, a community of couples who basically are growing together in their marriage, in their relationship.
Yeah.
And we're going to put, there's a link on, I know on YouTube, there's a link for how you can join the Ndoa Couples Community. I'm not sure, I hope we put it up on Facebook as well. But there should be a link there as well. So just click on the link if you're not part of the Ndoa Couples Community. And one of the things that happens in that is, like, the whole of Tuesday is Dilemma Tuesday.
Yeah.
So you asking for a friend. Just ask any questions about marriage, and that's what we're going to, then we get a lot of our topics from what people discuss.
Yeah.
And so that's one of the things that we run.
That is one of the things. Yeah. And then the other one that we run is a marriage. It's totally different. It's a marriage experience called Couples and Money. And in that one, we discuss money. One of the things that we realize for families is that money can be a very thorny issue.
Yeah.
It's one of those conversations that are not safe. I mean, they can have a lot of tension.
Yeah.
And so we put together a course called Couples and Money. It's also a 10-week, this one is online experience. You go through it with mentors, and it's a peer mentoring kind of time, and it's just been amazing. We just completed the season, and we're graduating this coming Saturday.
Absolutely. Actually,
That's
we're going to
online graduation.
We should talk about that. We're actually going to be we're going to be doing an event, and the event is going to be a conversation on your job won't make you rich.
Make you rich.
Your job will make you rich.
But which you're all invited, I think.
You're all invited to that. So just to get more details, join the Ndoa community, because we're going to put the invite in the Ndoa Couples community. But then apart from Couples and Money, we also run Ndoa, which is a 10-week experience I mentioned earlier, which is for people who are seeking to put a foundation for their marriage. So if you're dating, engaged, especially if you're heading towards marriage, you're definitely serious about marriage, or you're in a place where you got married but you know you did not build the right foundation for your marriage, that's what Ndoa does.
Yeah.
So those are just some of the things we do for couples, but we are passionate about mentoring couples who mentor other couples. So as you join the Ndoa Couples community, the whole idea is to help you become a mentor for other couples. I also want to give a shout out to the single people who are watching this. I know there's quite a few people as well who are not yet married, who are like, let me just take a peek in and see what these married guys are talking about, just in case it's not what I want to get into. And I think that's a wise thing. So I just want to give a big shout out to you as well. You're in the right place.
Now I want to give a shout out to Miriam Mututo. She gave me a thumbs up for branding, the rebranding.
So that's you're like on one thumbs up, like for real. Let me see if you got any thumbs up on Facebook. By the way, like, if guys choose this story, we're going to look for another name.
Oh,
no?
really?
Yeah, because I mean, obviously your people don't.
There are several.
There's a big one by Lillian.
Lillian.
Oh, Gerald says asking for me. Like, forget this asking for a friend thing. Yeah, so Leah says, okay, Leah's with you. Mutai Kip is with you. Sharon Ovinia. So like 4. Like, really? Is that enough for you to go by?
Okay, how many were you looking for?
Like
a few more? Okay, guys, please. I need a few more thumbs so that we can.
Like, I'm not sure people are feeling it. I think they're just, there's this thing about being kind and just affirming people.
Maybe it's a shout name.
I feel like people are not feeling this. By the way, if you don't like Carol's name, just put a thumbs down. Like let's stop being nice here. Some of you just don't like that name, and you're just being polite. You're not Christians. People just like being polite. Okay. I've just seen another thumbs up. Okay, all right. Oh,
several.
20 Maloba says, like 10 thumbs up. Tourette says, okay. Yeah. So I think you're getting a little support.
Yeah.
I think it's the ladies who like this name. Okay, no. Mutai says yes.
And Tony.
No, yeah. Tuni. I'm not sure Tuni is a girl.
Yeah, and Tourette Edda.
Tourette Edda, that's a girl.
Okay.
So a couple of girls like your idea.
Okay.
So, okay, we'll keep talking. And if you guys, Donald Murray.
Yeah,
that's a huge thumb.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. No, that name Ikosawa Sana, Tony says. And then Toet,
Toet
oh
has
my
put
gosh,
so
she's
many
like, that's like
for all
cheating.
the-
She's put like 50 votes on one. All right. So, okay. So from this coming Tuesday, we're going to call it Asking for a Friend. So this is
Yeah.
what this show is going to be rebranded to. Thank you guys. You've been part of it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, asking
your
for a
name,
friend
your
it is.
name wins.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm convinced. So before, we do need to introduce like our mystery couple tonight.
Yeah, like, you don't have any highs and lows this week?
Okay, all right. So, okay, go. What's your, you want to go? You want me to, you go
You
first.
go. Okay. Now, my high actually just happens to have been today.
Yeah.
And as we said, we went to Shags. My mom had wanted us to dedicate the land. She's just put up a wall and she wanted us to give thanks for it and also to dedicate the land. And I think that I really loved it. It was really nice.
It was a good family trip.
Yeah, it was a good family
You've
trip.
got a great family, I must say.
Thank you. Thank you.
To the front end.
Yeah.
For my high, I forgot to bring my prop. Wanjao, Damaris, please bring me a bottle of my honey because I've got to show the people my honey. It's like I just realized I can't tell you guys about honey every week and I don't show you honey. Just bring. Just bring a nice bottle, the nice sparkling one. So my high this week was that I harvested honey. I've been telling you guys like bees fill my cup. That's my hobby. That's my thing. So my good son here has brought me. One bottle is enough.
Oh,
I just want to whet their appetite. So this, can you see how clear and beautiful that is?
That is, yeah.
It looks nice, huh?
Yeah, it does.
It tastes even better.
Yeah.
So this is forest honey from our apiary,
Yeah.
and I personally harvested
Yes.
this honey.
Yes.
And my goodness,
Now what did I do?
you cheered
Well,
and
I
you prayed.
helped.
You cheered and you prayed and you helped. So
Yeah.
so that's my highlight.
Yeah.
Like man, I've become a beekeeper like nothing. Some of you I know are into beekeeping or into other hobbies. That's my thing right now. It's just giving me a lot of joy.
Yeah.
So yeah. So
Okay.
that's my. So shall we jump into
Yeah, we can.
the
We can.
mystery
Now
guest?
let's
All right, I'm
yeah.
going to admit them. You want to introduce them?
Yes.
Go for it.
Okay, so our mystery couple have been married for 13 years this December. They have 2 children, a boy called Daylan and a girl called Dariel, who's 9. Now they're from the Pearl of Africa, the beautiful city of Kampala. Now one of them is a corporate managing director and the other is a fashion and interior designer who is CEO of her own design house. And together they've put together a great ministry called the Not Experience. And what they do is that they create space, safe spaces for couples to have fun. And so that is so amazing. So ladies and gentlemen, please let's welcome Daniel and Diane Komunda all the way from Kampala. This is our first time to have international guests.
Absolutely. I mean, that's how we roll. We're
Yes.
international here.
Yeah.
And they are also facilitators for Ndoa and for
And
couples
Thank
everybody
you.
as well. So we do a lot of stuff together with these guys. You're looking lovely, guys. Which is no surprise because Diane, you're an interior decorator, so your set has to look nice. No pressure. So we want you guys to introduce yourselves real quick, and we're going to do this little thing we call rapid fire. So we just want to get you to know you. It's not an exam. It's just for you to you have to spit it out in less than a minute. So the first thing we want to know is how you met, and we're going to start with Danny. Your version, how we met, 1 minute. Let's go.
I saw her at church singing in the choir. Yes. This story gets updated every time. Singing in the choir. Then I used to visit her room she's an artist, so I used to come under the cover of seeing her artwork. So I was staring at her and her legs. So
the legs.
So to get to know, but that was really just so yeah, she's an artist and creative. So that was what was that's a quick one.
Wow.
So that leg part just kills me, man. Diane, I don't know if you knew the girl was coming to check your legs out. Oh my, the brother needs prayer. All right, Diane, 1 minute. Let's go.
Daniel was a brother to friends of ours. We used to do ministry together and acting, and their dad was really, really tough. But also, we went to primary school together. So I knew him a while. Then, he was one of those friends where you'd go like, we need to do a coffee, and then it just never happened. Then one day it did, and here we are.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
That's so different. And it's
Yeah.
like two different love stories.
Yes.
One is about coffee and the other is about legs.
Legs,
It's like,
yeah.
how do men and women think so
Yeah.
different? So
I'm
different.
wondering that for you, Diane, whether that was strategic. I mean, just talk about being strategic.
Coffee.
No, legs.
Oh, legs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
I was saying
the poor guy thought it was him who was seeing,
Yeah.
but
Who knows? Who
Okay,
knows?
all right.
That's called
Oh, wow.
yeah, that's called being, just
being
just being a woman.
okay, Diane, she's speaking for you. I'm not sure whether you agree, but
Wow. I'm not too sure either.
you're not too sure either. All right, so we're going to go into rapid fire. So again, it's just real quick answers, and we're going to start. I'm going to start with you, Danny, and then Carol's going to ask Diane the question. So, Danny, who between you is more obsessed with your phone?
Which phone?
With your cell phone? Who between you is always on the cell phone? Between you, Daniel and Diane?
Chris, Trevor Noah, Scrabble, online chess, the latest fashion trend, or
Oh wow.
So I guess that means Diane, right?
yeah.
Okay.
She looks guilty as charged.
Yes. All right. For Diane, if you didn't have to worry about money, what would you do all day?
What would you do?
Yeah. Buildings.
Buildings.
Oh wow.
She's a decorator and a designer.
Yeah. So buildings is what you would do. Okay, fantastic.
All right, Danny, what is something you enjoy
Yes.
doing that Diane just absolutely does not?
Being in
Sorry, you broke up?
places, being a mayor, one public place, and for Dan, we can come together. Why don't we sit, talk as the two of us? For me, I love the greeting hands.
Oh.
Yes,
So being in public spaces, being with a lot of people, that kind of thing.
loud,
Loud
and also loud.
places.
Yeah, Diane doesn't
Does
like
that sound familiar? It's like the guy
Yes.
wants to be out with the party with the people, and the girl
Yeah.
just wants to look into his eyes and sit in a quiet,
Right.
nice, romantic.
Yeah, with a nice candle flickering in between. So Diane, what did your dad think about Daniel?
Okay, one, my parents were in shock. I was a child, 4 or 5. So, yeah,
So they were in shock.
You're in shock. Okay.
in shock. Attached, like I didn't see it. I want to.
Childhood friend shock.
Oh, I see. Okay. Okay.
Danny, how much bride price did you pay?
It was not much. It was I had to present a picture of the Kavaka, right?
Mhm.
Yes, of the Kavaka of the Buganda kingdom.
Oh wow.
And no,
Which my dad gave me to blow up, then I gave it to him to bring.
yeah, so from
Wow.
her dad to her
And
to me, then to him. That was it.
You might see a few Kenyan brothers trooping over the border right now. That just sounds so good.
Okay.
Last question.
Yeah, last question goes to Diane. Using an example, to demonstrate the answer, who is the spender or hoarder in your marriage?
that's not a fair question.
Yeah. Who is the spender? Who is the hoarder? And give an example.
Give an example. We already know who it is.
Do you want to answer?
Your question.
Well, I'm the spender. But I'm not sure that he's the hoarder either. but yeah, he would be the holder. So I really get a good bargain. And when I want something, then I want it.
Yeah.
So I have every right reason for us to do the purchase now. One, I have my research always. Two, I've gotten a good bargain. And of course, I'm the one thinking ahead. I know exactly what we need.
Oh.
Danny's in trouble.
Oh, wow.
He's the holder. And I remember when we first got married, you won't even remember this. So I wanted a TV unit. And he said no to it. And we got something small for in the meantime that didn't work. I prayed about it some, and eventually we got the one that I wanted. But you see, the one I wanted lasted 10 years. His lasted like, so.
We're in trouble.
Yes.
I spend wisely.
Spend wisely. Okay.
Spend wisely.
Spend us
Take
of the
our
world
time.
unites.
We are processing, so
Yes.
different.
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for letting us know a bit about you and just for answering our questions, honestly. We want to jump into the section where we now discuss the dilemmas that came up. And for those who are watching, again, remember we have a WhatsApp group. It's called Asking for a Friend. And you can join it by just joining the Ndoa community. And we've got several groups.
Yeah.
And one was really active today, and I think
Yeah.
part of it is just even challenging all the people in the other groups. It's as active as you want it to be. And I mean, there's one group that today, like,
Yeah,
I
it was
opened
on
my phone, it's
fire.
like,
Oh my
how
goodness.
many like
Oh,
WhatsApps
I
are there?
had
It's like
135.
I know.
By the
It's
time
like
I
those
was
are
opening at the end of the
deep
day.
conversation.
Yeah.
And I think one of the dilemma that actually started it all off, and it was very, very aligned to what we want to talk about tonight. Do you want to read it for us?
Yes, I can go ahead and read it. It's a bit long, but I think I may just jump
Yeah.
a little bit. So it says, I'm glad to see today's topic is on passive men and aggressive women. I'm in that dilemma. I work hard and want the best for our children and try to work very hard to set good foundations for them. For example, ensuring, I invest for the future. My husband, on the other hand, is approaching 40. He's relaxed. He's not in a hurry to set anything for the future. He resigned from work because, according to him, he got tired. Mark you, he never shared that he was resigning. He had no fallback plan and he just sits at home doing lots of nothing. We had to move homes to fit my salary. I've had to move our grade 4 daughter to a school next door, which for her, it's a major move. And I can tell it's affecting her. But I'm trying to talk to her every day. I'm tired to the point of not wanting anything to do with him physically, and it's killing me inside because I'm the kind of wife who does not hold back my love. However, of late, being in the same room with him is becoming difficult. I mean, you can tell that, it's a tough situation. And she says she's on the verge of walking out. And the only reason she's still there is because of her daughters, and it's because her daughters love their father. And so she goes on to say this lack of drive drives me sad to the point I no longer ask anything. I keep quiet and I avoid speaking about anything with him because I don't want to blow up or talk rudely back to him. Honestly, at times he asks questions and I can almost hear my inner voice answer him, but instead I hold back and sip water and hold it in my mouth. Yeah, that just generated a lot of a lot of interest today, a lot of feedback, which was
Yeah, so I guess I'm really glad that you guys are from Uganda, because I'm assuming, Uganda, we know, at least from Kenya, that like there's just no such issues. I mean, you guys don't have issues like that. Ugandan women are very different from Kenyan women.
Oh.
Danny looks like he's about to choke. So maybe I can start with you, Diane. Like, do you guys encounter passive men and aggressive women? Do you guys encounter that in your setup? And what does that look like? Is that a common thing at all, or is that just a Kenyan story?
Yes, it happens a lot, and it's usually a very huge point of contention and strife within marriages and family. The perception is that the men are just chilling, not in a hurry to go anywhere, or are taking their sweet time. And I'll just say, like, especially for us, we are just even for one of the interesting things is that we wanted to build a house maybe 13 years ago. We only started 3 years ago. So the land was there 13 years ago. There was a space of God knows what happened when nothing was happening. But it was really because I was very chilled about it, and I sort of wanted to over-calculate and not to say I was right. However, well, she was the one who was the pusher and the aggressor and decided to take the step, look for the architect, look for the laborers, look for quotations, do everything well. And I think it actually happens, just to answer the question. And it's quite a lot in Uganda.
Wow.
I think so.
So you've just given us one of the reasons for your perspective, which is that, and I'm going to ask Diane also to just speak into that from her perspective. Passive men, aggressive women. You've talked about the fact that for you, it's about you needed to analyze, you needed to think through issues properly, and so that took you a little longer than maybe Diane was comfortable with. But that could be one of the reasons that happens. Only it took 10 years, but go ahead, Diane. Tell us what's on your mind. What are you thinking?
So I have another example.
Yeah.
So we did Ndoa maybe about maybe 8 years ago.
Wow.
We're not 6 years into the marriage then, and so this whole submission thing. Oh, women, don't be too aggressive. So we calmed down a bit. I remember the bathroom light was out. And now just to give a bit of background, my first item that I bought as a married woman was a toolbox.
Oh.
I know.
My gosh.
Wow.
It's like
I walked
it's over.
into game and walked out with a toolbox. Anyway, so I had been fixing stuff for a while. Then I'm like, oh, let me be the nice submissive woman. So the bulb in the bathroom went out. Let me tell you, we used the bathroom as it was for 6 months.
Oh wow.
Oh, wow.
With your toolkits lying there conveniently.
Yes, 6 months. I think I gave the example, I don't know. Eventually he got round to it, but really, for him, if the bedroom light works, why do I need to fix the bathroom light?
It can illuminate into.
I love it. I mean, why? There's a bulb that's working. And light kind of goes round the door. It enters. Just leave the door open. Makes a lot of sense, Danny. I feel you. I mean, like, but I imagine then it can't have been for you, Diane, it must have been a bit stressful for sure. In that kind of scenario.
Yes, I'm really holding myself, like literally like this.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay. But you see, it wasn't a problem for him at all. He did not see it as a problem. It had no urgency, and yet it was killing me.
Yeah.
So, eventually we got, we got to fix it and everything. But what I also learned is that sometimes I find it that it's just stereotypes that we have placed, that a man should do this and a woman should do that. And yet sometimes the woman is just really gifted to do that, aka me. Like, he grew up in a house of all girls. So me as my father's handbag, and he to this day drills walls. So when I settled it within myself that is something I actually loved to do, could do, and would do well and more efficiently, why then pass the pressure onto him? When there are other things that he could do and do excellently, but you're so fixated sometimes on the one thing that he is not doing and missing out on everything else and killing his spirit in the end. So yeah.
I love, and I, because we give examples as well, and I love that you've given us the examples. I imagine, I mean, to people listening, they just sound like, oh, how sweet, it's like just a light bulb, that's a small thing. But I suspect
it's just 10 years of waiting.
It sounds like, I would imagine it must have been agonizing for you in a sense. And then, so what's, before you understood, you know what, maybe I'm the handy person around the house. I'm the one who's going to walk around with chainsaws and power tools, and that's not my husband who's going to do that. Before you got to that point, what was the process you went through? Like how did you feel about this whole thing?
Okay. It's banging doors loudly, like as many pointers as possible, or pretending you knocked your toe because you couldn't see, or you dropped something in the dark, like loud hints, but they just were not working. They were pretty loud, but they were not working. And it was very, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was pulling ropes. It was a tough one.
Okay.
Yeah, but I tried all that I could in terms of gentle nugs. And then, okay, they get louder, like.
Yeah.
So, Danny, what's going through your mind that whole time? Like as you're being gently nagged for 10 years to build, or gently nagged for 6 months to change a bulb. What's going through your mind at that point?
I think for me there was a lot of pressure for starters. So first of all, I'll backtrack a bit. I am sanguine, so I like to chill. I do not like undue pressure. I take my time to process something. So sometimes a thin line between processing and procrastinating. And so for me, why I felt pressure was because without her saying it, she would say how her dad taught her how to do this. Her dad taught her how to do this.
Yeah.
And for me, it was, man, this guy is providing so much undue pressure. Can he leave my family and allow me to run my show?
Yeah.
Well, there was no show I was running, but the point was, there was so much pressure to deliver, and Diane is borders on really being a perfectionist on so many things. So it's like, why don't you get this fixed? Now, for me, my solution was, you can get a guy to fix it. High expectation.
Her dad climbs and fixes.
Her dad climbs and fixes. I'm like, but I have the guy, a fundi man I can call to fix it. So it will get frustrating, to be honest. It will get, because another thing is also about her temperament. She's flagged. So a flagged person, once they've decided to do something, they've decided, and that's it. And for me, I perceived it as being big-headed or disrespectful, because she would refuse to do something or just say no, and then that would just sort of pile up. So what was a bulb got compounded into a whole bunch of all these other issues. So pressure, I think, was the word, and frustration.
Yes. So on one side, there's just this frustration, impatience, a feeling of, my goodness, I mean, you should see this. But on the other side, there's a sense of, I'm being pushed, undue pressure, you're bringing your dad's things into my house. There's just, and both of you are frustrated. I mean, I can imagine what that 10 years was like as you're waiting to build a house. And maybe let's even bring it into this lady's situation. And I love the fact that, thanks so much for leading even with your story, because what you're saying is, this is not as uncommon, probably for the person who wrote this. They might think it's something that only happens, I mean, I'm glad that you guys are saying it. You have a great marriage. You're a fantastic couple. You mentor other couples. But you're saying we've gone through this as well. So this is not as uncommon as you might think. So let's talk a bit about her situation, because what she's saying is the guy is not working. He's content to be home.
Yeah.
And sort of just, maybe he's processing, I don't know. But he's at home. he's letting her carry the weight. He's not carrying the bills. What do you? I mean, when you find a couple in that kind of situation, what do you guys advise them? I mean, what do you tell? What's going on from your perspective in that kind of situation? Just imagine it happened to you in the North experience, and some lady was really frustrated about this. What do you say in that scenario?
Most of the time, our pain is because we are looking inward. I remember there were a couple of friends. He was not yet laid off, but he was put on hold, like he was in some sort of waiting space. And when you're putting pressure, he's already, as a man, is sort of like beaten up. The things that you're saying to him, he's already saying to himself. So what I would say to the girl, because one, we're already in this space, is first hold down. Extend some grace, like try and understand, because once you understand the other person, it helps you deal a bit better.
Yeah.
Once I understood that, and I kept saying it, he was saying about my dad, I keep giving examples about my dad. And even though I didn't mean to put pressure on him, I actually did. So even if you mean well in terms of pushing him to
Froze a bit. Give us a sec. She comes back. Is it? It could be us who are frozen and the ones who are on. Okay. Oh, sorry, we lost you for a sec. Are you still? I think you're muted. Yeah, go ahead. You were saying, yeah, giving him time, understanding where he's coming from. Yeah.
Understanding where he's coming from, not so much. Okay, first, not even for his sake, but for your own sake. That once you sort of imagine his shoes, you will be a bit more gracious to understanding, even as you're looking for solutions to move forward from that. So first, even as we say in Ndoa, work on me. So in this space, if I'm talking to the lady, this is what I would say, because you can't act for the man. So it's what can you do as a woman in this space. So one is to try and fit into his shoes. What do you think he's going through, knowing that he as a man cannot provide for his family? His wife is the one that's putting all the bill. And I know that men look like they have withdrawn into their corner and it's comfortable. But I doubt that is actually comfortable. They are battling. So understanding that will help you extend a bit of grace.
Wow. Dan, you want to speak into that? What do you say?
Yeah. So a couple of things. I think it's important to, usually for men, what we are doing is we are processing. Now, sometimes there's no start and end to the processing. So in the processing, sometimes it's because you're just sometimes beating yourself up. That's usually that's you're beating yourself up because you feel like a failure, or you feel you've let people down. A lot of people are depending on you, but in the processing, you don't know how to get out of that space. The other thing I thought of sharing is women have an ego, and that's the thing the Holy Spirit tries to work on us over time, is because I am expected to be at a certain level. I'm expected to have all my ducks in a row. I'm expected to be macho 24/7. The room for vulnerability takes the grace of God. It also takes time. It takes you being able to allowing yourself to learn and unlearn a whole bunch of things.
Yeah.
But one of the things that I just, if I was speaking to the lady, would be that, one of the things we used to fight about was when she would say, if I hurt Diane, she would say, you have done this, you have done this, you have done this. Now, what that did for me is that I kept feeling like she was pounding and pounding and pounding. So now instead of listening to what she was saying, I was reacting to the pounding, the pressure that I was receiving from her. Now, of course, when we went through Ndoa experience, one of the things we learned was for the lady, even for her to speak from an empathetic point and say, when you did this, this is how it made me feel.
Yeah.
So as opposed to attacking, the question should be in engaging from that aspect and saying, actually, for asking what's actually going on. When you go quiet, when you do not respond, this is how I feel. What that does for us men is that it disarms us, to be honest, is that you no longer have your guards up. You're now forced to get into her space and understand where she's coming from.
Yeah. That's really powerful. And I think I'm hearing, so first Diane is saying, please understand where he's coming from.
Yeah.
Because when you don't understand the background, you could easily judge without really getting what's going on. And what you're saying is it's probably not comfortable for him to be where he is. And then Danny now sheds a bit more light and says, there's a sense when you feel like you're failing, you're feeling the pressure, you're feeling and there are cues that you could be interpreting a certain way. Yeah. I don't know. Does this help? Because I know we were talking earlier and you're like, okay, help me understand what a man's processing.
Yeah, what a man's processing.
Do you have any questions on that?
Yeah, but I think that I think when we were just thinking about this whole issue and just trying to understand her, I kind of did some research, to discover some ways in which, I like what Daniel was saying, that when Diane would pound and pound, then you'd end up reacting to that. But when she started saying, this is what, when you do this is what it makes me feel, I did some research and it showed, and I was just thinking, in the world, I think both men and women are told, be all you can be. And so the woman is also be all she can be.
Yep.
And then when it comes to the family, you're doing all that you can do, and somehow it ends up disenfranchising the man or emasculating the man.
Yeah.
And so so I'd like to just hear from Danny and from Moravi, just what are your thoughts about this? When a woman is so active, she's taken over doing everything, she's doing all that she can be, what is it that is going on there for men? I think that's a question that I would have.
I mean, Danny, maybe you can go first. You're saying Diane's got her toolkit, she's got her dad instructed, trained, ready to go. Yeah. So she's pushing. She's like, let's get this thing done. If you don't want to build a house, I can build it. Just tell me.
Yeah.
What do you
like? Well, so for me, at the time, it was, what? If you want to do this, go ahead. I'm not going to. There are a lot more wars to fight. Economies, government economies to revive. I will what you want to use as things. So this I will not get, because for me, like you say, I'm an avoider. So if I smell or sense drama from a mile away, I would rather not. And so for me, it was, you want this bulb, okay, please. Take it on. That's I will not get into. What are we fighting about? What are we fighting about?
Every choice, I guess.
Yeah, every choice, because Diane is. She's a.
Usually says, I ask a question, and then I have the answer already, and I need him to answer it exactly to the letter, like in tone and in action.
Yeah.
You have a varying opinion, you see her face change. You're like,
yeah. Fine. What did you want me to say again? Just write it out so I can read it.
yes. And
I have an idea exactly how the fight is supposed to go, progress, and how it ends. So, let's change the plan.
Okay.
Maybe I could say
Yeah,
I can
ahead.
add to that as well, because it's interesting. I'm actually like, our temperaments are different, because I'm the one who pushes and Caro is more like laid back and the one who'd avoid. But it's interesting because I remember even early in our marriage where you had this thing, and I've had people mention this on the asking for a friend group, where like her parents owned a security company.
Yes.
So basically, she's trained like that. I mean, she's trained. She's security conscious.
Yeah.
She walks into a building, she's cased it out. She can tell the windows. She can tell whatever.
Yeah,
Burglar proofing. So I'm the person who, for me, honestly, I'm that person who then lock doors. I'm like, what's up with that? Don't you guys trust Jesus to look after you? So I'm like, we'd go to bed, and she gets so fed up because, like, did anyone check the doors?
Yeah.
So what did you start doing?
So I started locking myself. I mean, I decided.
Like, your routine was to go around and just lock
go around and lock the doors.
all the doors in the house?
Yeah.
So, like Danny, very happily I said, oh, fine, you like locking doors, eh? That's a nice chore for you. The other things I can do.
Yeah.
And so I think I really feel you, Danny, when you say, when your woman ups her game, when she steps up, when she starts leading the house, I think most men will back off. And I think one of the things I'll say that's interesting, and I don't know, I'm not trying to, I mean, maybe we won't agree on this, but I'm just going to say it. I feel like the way I'm training my son right now, because I've got one son and 2 girls. The way I've trained him from when he was a kid is like, you never hit your sister. You don't compete with your sister. We don't fight girls. I mean, that's not what we do as men. And so he's not equipped for this world where the girl child is being taught you can do anything the man can do. You can even do it better. You should beat him. You should fight him at work. There's a glass ceiling. You should be ahead of him. So the guy enters into a space where when the woman starts competing, he's been taught by his father, step back.
Yeah.
So when the wife now comes and says, I'm doing this, he's like, I don't know what I'm not going to fight with you. We're not equipped for that. And so I've just found that there's a sense in which there's 2 messages going on. There's a message that's empowering the girl child, saying, be all you can be, which I think it's a fantastic message, but I think it's a half message, because then the boy child is still being given the old message of,
don't compete.
Be a gentleman. We don't fight girls. We don't hit girls.
Yeah.
We watch movies now, and the girls, you know how we always talk about the movies,
and which I don't agree with, by the way.
men and women fighting, and the girl just kicks butt. She beats up all the guys in the room. And it's like, I'm looking at it, and of course I'm thinking, okay, the girl child's empowered to watch that. But what's the guy being told? Because he's been told by everybody, don't kick that girl, don't touch, don't hit back.
Yeah.
So I think there's that thing that happens when you start feeling your wife pushing and becoming aggressive, and the natural thing then is just to back off. I know I've done that.
Yes, definitely.
I've done that in our marriage.
Yeah.
So I think that's one. And then there's somebody who talked about in the YouTube channel, and I think they mentioned, are we also talking about temperaments here?
Yeah.
Because they talked about the fact that sometimes you have a choleric wife, a phleg husband.
Yeah.
And so again, it's almost like traditionally we've not been taught to deal with that.
Yeah. But I think even with temperaments, there is, I mean, even with those temperaments, so yes, we can typically say that a phleg will be more laid back and a choleric is going to, be out there pushing. But I still believe that there are those issues that maybe a wife will still push on, whether she's phleg or choleric, and that the man is going to back off. And like now, in our situation, I mean, take that example where we're talking about the security. You're the more choleric one. I mean, you're the choleric, but there's that situation of the security where, where you backed off. And I know there are many other issues where I will push, and then I notice that you back off.
But
you lose interest. You lose interest, and I'm like, no, that's not what I intended.
No, had we done the course, Ndoa, at that point, you'd have probably told me, when you go to bed without checking the windows, this is how it makes me feel.
It makes me feel insecure. Actually, probably I should
you had not done doors, so you didn't know this. So what did you do? You started locking the doors.
Locking the doors myself.
So I'm like, okay, girl child has her act together.
Yeah.
Let her get it done.
Yeah.
So, but I think one other thing, we've talked about the fact that there's that gender difference. We've talked about temperaments.
Yeah.
And then I think one other one, which I think is a really important one, is this whole thing about, I just think there's also, and maybe we'll come back to it, I think the way we're bringing up our children also is contributing to this.
Mm-hmm.
The way boys are being brought up today, and the way girls are being brought up today. So the way we're speaking to our boys, you know, daddy, come here. I mean, it's like we're bringing up little princes who have no sense of responsibility. And then those princes marry somebody's daughter. And then you basically end up in a mess. So you brought up your son to be such a king. He doesn't do any housework. He doesn't look up. I mean, one of the things that the person said in this letter is that the guy is at home because he's jobless right now, but he won't even do the housework.
Yeah.
But you know, how many of us are teaching our sons to wash the dishes, to wash clothes? We don't do that. So you find that these little boys are growing up to be little spoiled princes. And you know what? As a mom who's doing that, you're bringing up your child to be somebody else's husband who's going to be a deadbeat husband.
Yeah.
So I feel like also our parenting is also contributing somewhat to some of the crisis we're seeing, especially with younger couples today.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the raising, and even when I had talked about girls being taught how to be all we can be, again, that's part of the raising up. You can be all you can be, which is the girl. For the boys, you know, you're raising them up in a very entitled way with very little responsibility. No wonder then when they grow up and, you know, they're adults, then there's very little responsibility, you know, that the guys are taking up. So
I don't know. I don't know what you guys, whether you're seeing that in Uganda as well. But I see little boys just spoiled with toys. I mean, it's like the little girls carry dishes and wash things. The little boys sit over there and be a prince and be served. And I think we're just doing a disservice to the future generation already.
Yeah, I think for me, and I was sharing, I think, with Danny earlier, the roles that the stereotype of roles, women do this, men do that.
Yeah.
While the girl child is being told you can do everything a man can do, the man is still in the box where only, you know, like you're saying, you know, he's spoiled. He's still in that same place where women can't do certain things and men can do certain things.
Yeah.
That when a woman crosses into that space, then his ego is hurt and he doesn't know how to do the other thing. Like you were saying about, you know, as in at least then he should be washing the dishes, you know, helping out with the kids. Since he's not going to work, he should be able to comfortably switch roles. And growing up, okay, I'm sorry, I'm going to
your daddy.
But
Daddy, just no pressure.
Yeah, but growing up, my dad was that guy that, you know, even when you were hosting friends over, if he's going to make himself a cup of coffee, he will ask if any of you want a cup of coffee, because he's going to do that.
Nice.
So he will fix it and do that.
Is
I grew up seeing my dad.
Is that generally Ugandan men? I mean, because that just sounds. Like,
no.
I was going to say that sounds incredible.
Yeah, understand.
Yeah.
A certain breed of man. No, but I mean that even though my dad retired and my mom is still working to this day, but there is no strife because he's filled in. I remember he was under so much pressure. I made him go to all my antenatal
the clinics.
Classes.
Yeah.
Because I had never gone to hospital without my dad. So I'm like, but of course, like we never ever thought my dad was not a man enough because he's not the one who was going to work. But he filled in so many other spaces. My dad picks my mom from work every single day.
Oh, wow.
Till now. So as in, even when roles have been switched, guys should be able to comfortably fit into this space because you can. Like, at the end of the day, it's if this relationship works. It's not them against us. It's a unit, so let's make it work. If it's something that you are good at, like, he's the one who does my daughter's hair. I have no patience for salon things. Clearly, if I'm buying 2 boxes, I am that girl. but he is so comfortable with it. He goes, he takes her, like hair is his thing.
That's incredible.
And that works for our relationship. Every time that I have gone, we've come back and the hair is not done. But then they're good. So it's okay. If I am gifted and talented in building houses, I'll build the house, he'll take the kids and entertain them, and we are both happy.
So Danny,
So I think that men need to sort of just mind shift.
So Danny, it didn't sound like you started that way. Is it like you watched her dad enough that you now began to make hair, or was it something that a conviction came from the Holy Spirit, or is it just that Ugandan men are just different? You know, I'm still getting to this thing.
It's a combination of, I think, the good one. I saw that one. I think so. I think we fought so much about the roles and her seeing me as being passive, and it was the cause of strife, and so there would be what do you call it, silent treatment for days. Well, not days, really, like a day and a half or so. And so I think over time and interacting with other married couples, it was more what for me it was the transformation was in seeing what her strengths are and picking up what my strengths are. So for example, like the salon thing, I found it easy. I found it a way to bond with my daughter, to make the bookings, to sit in the salon for 6-7 hours as they do the whatever braids. And so I decided, so when she started, I think also it came down to when she would appreciate the things that I did. So I said, oh, you did this well. I said, okay, that has earned me some points, tick. Then the small, subtle things just started saying, when she said, oh, you did this well, or I appreciate you for doing this. There's a time she had to travel to South Africa, and the same day she travels is the same day our nanny left. The house flooded, and so I had to prepare kids for school, pick them up, take them, cook meals, and she kept panicking every single day. But I think because I had done it before, and over time she would affirm me in certain things, it was easy for me to then adjust. And the house flooded, just didn't catch fire, which was good for 6 or 7 days. And yes, I think, but it also came from a part of where I was not able to. I think the affirmation from her was what got us out, or helped us start having different conversations. And then also humility, I think also for me, remember the aspect of work on me, pray for the other person, is saying, okay, are we going to let the fact that, I mean, her dad has a certain space in her life. I could just create my own through that. So as opposed to trying to compete, match him or knock him over.
Wow. Okay. And I like that. I love the fact that what you're saying, Daniel, is that Diane's ability to see and to value your contribution is what really turned it around for you. And because the reality is that a lot of times you will find that the person who is more assertive, the person who is the early adapter, the person who maybe is even more vocal, oftentimes might not see the value that their spouse is bringing. And because of that, they have no idea what value their spouse is bringing, and so they tend to overlook them completely as they are making decisions, to even overlook maybe a contribution that this person might be bringing in. And so I like now, and I like that you brought that out, Daniel, because there are many ways in which people or couples may relate. Now, the one that we talked about with the passive and aggressive is one way. It's just one of the ways where one person is so active and the other person is very passive. And, and so there's a struggle over there. And it's almost like a parent-child relationship. That's what happens.
Yeah.
And you can see that even in the, even as a lady was writing, sometimes it can sound like a parent-child. It's almost like, she's the adult and he's the child. And indeed, in those kinds of situations, one person is acting like the parent and the other one is acting like the child. So that is one of the ways. And I wanted to bring up a few other ways just so that we can not just broaden this conversation, but I know there's so many other people who are watching this program, and they may not fall in the active and in the passive and aggressive style, but there are other styles, and we want to see at the end of the day what how do we in a sense begin to relate in a more healthy and in a way that there's mutual respect. So I'll just mention about three of them. One is there's some couples who there's a lot of competition. So there are some who are listening right now and they're saying, you know what, we may not have the passive and aggression, but both of us are very competitive, and it's almost like everyone is jockeying for power. Everyone is jockeying to put in their argument or to put in their idea. And so, that's people who are listening who would identify with that. The others who would be the aggressive and accommodating style. And here, here, when we're talking about the power, it's raw power. One partner is clearly in charge, and the other person accommodates, not because they're passive, but because of fear. And we need to acknowledge that. And here, the intimidating partner, they fear that the intimidating partner will blow up. They fear real conflict, and there's possibly emotional abuse and sometimes even physical abuse. And so if you're in that situation and you're listening, understand that you could be in the aggressive, accommodating. And then the third one, or the fourth one that I want to talk about is the disconnected, where there's little arguing, but there's also no connection whatsoever. And it's like the partners are in autopilot. And so what we are saying here is that for all these ones, I don't think they're in the ideal situation. What you're looking for is for that balance. It's for that place where there's acceptance. For that place where we're working together as a team. It's for that place where we're complementing one another and recognizing each other's strengths. And also looking out, having the other person's back. Each of you knowing, you know what? I think my spouse definitely has my back, and I'm confident about that. We each know what our strengths are, and we're able to not just celebrate them, but also to leverage on them. But I don't think we start there. We don't start there at all. And I know for us, I think when we started off, I would say that we were more in the active and the passive. I think when I came into the marriage, I think I was expecting you to do everything. And I was expecting, for you to take care of everything.
Well, but I think it's part of it is what you saw your dad
My
do.
dad,
And so I think you expected a bit of that.
I think I came in as a
super
daughter.
dads. Maybe I should just stop,
here.
dial it back a bit. My daughters might enter marriage with the same issues.
Oh, they will. Yeah, they will. I think you need to make that.
Danny's daughters will be expecting their husbands to take their kids to the salon. Here's the problem. You finally
Super dad.
you grow. Because here's the thing. Any single person watching this is probably looking and saying, "Look at Danny. What a great guy." What you don't understand is behind every successful man is a woman who has panel beaten that guy for about 13, 14 years, and vice versa. And so what you don't see is the hard work and the pain that it went to actually build a marriage. And so sometimes you want to jump into a marriage like that, not understanding, my goodness, there was back-breaking pain, prayer, labor, etc.
Yeah, and so I think for the lady who was writing and many other ladies who are writing, that's just something I think to note, that we all start with one style. It could be this one that is active and passive, but with that patience, then it's possible to grow. I think I loved what Daniel said, but Diane began to appreciate and to say, oh my goodness, I really appreciate this about you. And that is what kind of, turned it around for Daniel. I think that was fantastic.
There's a question here on YouTube, and I'm going to just ask it out. And by the way, if you've got questions and you're watching, please let us know if you've got comments or questions. Munga Maseru says, have you encountered very serious issues of neglect on the husband's part? How does the other party deal with that? And I think this person's like pushing us into that question. It's like, okay, there are issues here, but we're talking about serious like abdication, like serious neglect. What do you advise? What do you tell that person?
Yeah. I don't know. Let's first hear it from the commanders.
All right. What do you tell the person? The guy is actually just not carrying his weight.
Yeah.
And for all the reasons we've talked about, but yeah, she's asking, what do I do?
Yeah. Okay. One, I would seriously suggest that if he can get into that space, but if you can get into a community of, with other couples, get him into a space where he can connect with other men.
Yeah.
Because sometimes when we communicate as a woman, it comes off as an attack. But when you're in a space where either you're hearing another couple's scenario, then it sort of makes sense. You're like, oh, so that's what that person has been saying all this time. Or even just men, peer, like just getting to a space where he's encouraged by someone other than you. Because there's a lot within a relationship between like the two of us. There are too many moving parts. Emotions, how they say for a woman is like a bag of string lights. Once one is disconnected, everything is like sort of mixed up in there. You have got to go through all of them to find one. So sometimes it's really hard to, zero in on something. But if you push him or get him into a crowd, peer mentoring, where he will sort of get with other men that will help him along. Especially even now, networks are a big thing. Our new fight. He has such great networks, he just doesn't know what to do with it. Anyway, he, getting into networks and, he could find, that's where he will find someone that will, push him towards a job, get him on some gig, like just get him out, push him into a space of community so that other people can help you walk that journey. I think the biggest mistake for me in marriage, even getting in, is that thing that they tell us that marriage is a private thing. In fact, I know many women that would think that this is a taboo. Like, how are we even here, sitting and talking about our relationships in public like this? But it's in this space that we find healing. In us sharing our story, you pick a leaf or two on something that you could do in your own relationship. So for me, it's so important to not deal with this alone. Find a space, that Ndoa community, just find a space of other couples, like-minded couples that you can work with. Yeah.
And I think it probably needs to be like-minded. I like the word you said, like-minded, because there are couples there are people who tear down your marriage. Yeah. And they'll tell you, you know what, just bounce. This isn't helping you.
Right.
So yeah. I like that. Danny, anything to add? What do you tell the person? I mean, the guy is just not carrying weight. Does she walk out? Where does she get to the place where she's like, the guy is not being the husband he's meant to be?
Not yet.
Not yet. I think we've been blessed to be part of with a whole bunch of other people, part of different people's transformation stories. And I think as opposed to pushing someone into that space is to encourage, because sometimes, like we said, I think someone once said that when the female species is growing up and maturing, they sort of do it collectively. So 35-year-olds think like 35-year-olds. And it's all of us, we started in school together, we sort of have matured, same levels. With men, it's super different. It's super different. Has nothing to do with age. Maturity is a very personal journey, to be honest. And yes, the man needs to step up. Yes, he probably knows, but he's probably not even conceptualized what that means. I'm still probably thinking like a bachelor, and yeah, they've got a family to feed, but yeah, it's because it has not yet sunk in. So I think just to Diane's point, it's how much just getting together with like-minded men, couples, helps one have a better understanding of where you're at, really. That's
okay. That's helpful. I don't know what you want to add to that. I like what they're saying, because what they're saying is if at all possible, it would be great if you can just surround yourself with like-minded couples. And one of the ways you can do that is join Ndoa or couples that might do something together if you can. It's not always possible though, because some guys are just like, I'm not interested. So what do you do in that case? Does she get to a place where she's like, I'm done?
Yeah, no, I don't think I don't think you want to reach that place where you're done. I believe also for the woman, there's a place to receive that kind of encouragement. I believe there's a place to also be with women who are going to give you positive advice, who are going to encourage you, because it can be a very frustrating space to be. It can be a very lonely space to be, especially if you feel like you're carrying all the weight by yourself. But it's a place where it's very interesting, because I feel that the woman has a lot of power. And in this one, where the guy has checked out and he's not responding, I feel that the woman has a lot of power. She may feel powerless, but she has a lot of power to actually change that situation. And
speaking to that sounds interesting.
And I think it all has to do with the way that she's going to talk, or the way that she's going to encourage, or the way that she's going to bring out this guy who has withdrawn. Part of it was, what Diane did, which was just say, I really appreciate it when you do that, because when you're celebrated for something, then you get to do it a lot more. The other thing is
so celebrate what is working.
Celebrate completely. The other thing that I say, and like Diane, who is out there, I say, be a woman, be the woman. In a sense,
what does that mean?
Share your vulnerabilities, because I believe that for the guy, he might not even understand, or he might think that that you have the whole situation fully in control, that you're doing well, that you probably don't even need his help. But I believe there's a place to just say, actually, I do need you. And I don't think I don't know if there's any person who doesn't like to be needed. And I'm not saying that you're manipulative about it, but be honest, be open, quite honestly, just say, I do need you.
I need help.
I do need you, I need help. And I believe that, these are the things that, in a sense, would help bring him out. Yeah, so I believe that, the woman has a lot of power, but she needs to be very wise in the way that she does it, because it will involve using it in not in the usual thumping way. Yeah. But I think the best thing would be there apply a lot of emotional intelligence in this situation. I think that's what
Okay. I read there's a lady in the group. I think it's a lady who wrote this, and I thought she gave extremely good advice. So if you'll allow me to read what she said, because she gave, and for the person who's listening, maybe you're in that situation with a passive husband, I thought her stuff, and I showed it to you earlier, and you also thought it was really good. And she said, what this person said is, so she gave a couple of steps. Number one, do a diagnostic of what's working, as well as what's not working. Because usually what you do in a situation like this is you focus on what's not working. Yeah. So do a diagnosis and just be able to figure out, what is he doing well? Yes. What is actually working? And actually, as the person went on to share, you could see there's some things that the guy does. The kids enjoy their father. There's just things at home. I remember one time in our marriage, we got to a place where our marriage was so dry. And we tell this story. Carol tells this story how she started racking her brain to think of things to thank me for, to affirm in me. And one of the I don't know if there were many things. One of the few things she could say was, "Thank you for driving us to church. Thank you for driving us. Thank you for you drive. I feel so good when you drive, you know." And it's like, man, the poor woman has racked her head to think of things to just affirm me for. But it's like any small thing she could find, she just began to affirm. And what happens is, this person says, you're going to start noticing that your list of what's working is actually not as short as you think it is. There's actually a place where you're going to discover that, you know what, yes, you know your list very well of what's not working. But the things that are working, that you're taking for granted, once you start to list them, it's like that old song of Count Your Blessings. You know, you'll be surprised what God is already doing. And then she says, number 2, celebrate yourself. You know, so celebrate yourself for the things that are working. Affirm yourself. You're not a failure. Your marriage is not a failure. There are things that are really, really working. And then once you've done that, then now start looking at the things that are not working and maybe look at yourself and see, how am I playing my part? Because yes, there's situations that are out of your control, but there's some situations that are in your control. And I guess now begin to think about that. And then also, she talked about thinking about your partner. And this is what Danny was saying earlier. The guy could be in depression. The guy could just be completely overwhelmed. He has no clue. And the problem is, men are not taught to show when they're overwhelmed. We struggle. I've been married many years, and I still find myself sometimes struggling to say it. I can't hack, you know. This is too much for me. And so understand that, because what somebody had even mentioned in the group is the guy could even be in depression. You don't even know. Losing a job the guy could be looking like he's holding his cards together, but it could actually be devastating to him right now. And then the person said, and I think this one, couple more which were really good. Keep asking God to open your eyes and ears to see what He sees and what He hears. I thought that was very powerful. Learning to pray. And by the way, I think on one of these episodes, you really need to talk about praying for your marriage, because I think there's some things that you do. I know I've been a recipient of those prayers. There's some prayers that I think every spouse must learn to pray for their marriage. And then reach out for help. This was another one. And this is something very important. Many times we think that it's only people who are desperately sick who need help, especially to see a counselor or a psychologist. And I think one of the person said is, look, reach out for help because you're overwhelmed yourself. Yeah. And when you're sick, you're not able to help the person who's in trouble. And so I thought these were really, really important. Just some really good pointers for somebody in that situation. Yeah. Do you guys encounter, do you find yourself in situations like this where you're having to actually, is counseling a big thing in Uganda, in Kampala? Do you find yourself sometimes referring people to counselors, or that's not as big a deal out there? If they're still with us. Danny, are you with us? We might have lost them, huh? But you know, you're a counselor. Oh, there you go.
We thought it was just. I think counseling is just something that's coming up, but of course, it had that you have a problem, face to it, and even when Ndoa started here, it was just a small group of people because who are like, counseling, we don't have a problem.
Yeah.
But with people sharing that bit more, people are more willing to get into spaces where they can get help.
Yeah.
I think it's a bit more open now.
I think there are not too many counselors, maybe if I say
even now, there's still a very small space.
Very small space for professional counselors. And so, yes, there are those who, a couple of friends who've done Ndoa and are not experienced have gone into school to study counseling, which, and that does become like a point of reference for many couples. So it's, I think it's only growing.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I guess this is, and my prayer is whoever's watching, thanks for all the great comments. There's quite a few of you watching. I'm praying that this is of help to somebody. I hope that somebody who's just being encouraged. I don't think there are any quick fixes to this situation, but I think there are some things you can begin to do differently. Number one is just counting those blessings, beginning to see what's working. Number two is beginning to pray different, asking God to show you how to pray. Number three, as Danny and Diane said, is beginning to pray that God would even give you couples, put you in community. And if my thought is, if your husband's not ready to get into it, then maybe you need to be in a community of believers, of people who have a positive view of marriage, who will help you. And maybe this is where we really need to talk about older women mentoring younger women, because I think this is lacking in our churches. We really need to be available to mentor older men, mentoring older younger men as well. So looking for people that you can be with, positive community that will actually give you, I think we're just talking earlier and saying how when we look at our parents' generation, they had a very different perspective on marriage. And I look at, say, my parents. My parents have been married 50 years, 50 plus, 53 now.
3 years, yeah.
They have a phenomenal marriage. But because I've been close enough, and when you grow older, you start to see where the challenges are. And I can tell you, man, they have got some serious issues. And this is actually one of their issues that we're discussing right now. Mom's just that go-getting, choleric, strong woman. And I suspect, by the way, by the time they've gotten there 50 years looking so sweet and whatever, they've bruised each other the hard way. Yeah? But it's like that whole idea of marriage was not meant to make me happy. It was meant to make me holy. And God's going to use my spouse and their problems to unearth problems I have as well. And I think what Diane said, I mean, just you said it so beautifully. It's about working on me and praying for them. And so I don't know if you guys have any final comments, anything you want to say to people watching about this issue, maybe just something that has come up as we're speaking.
Yeah, maybe something to the ladies like me who can really, push and do things themselves. I like watching movies. I'm a Hallmark movie girl, and Christmas is almost here, so yay! But the damsel in distress, you know what? We saw these things in the movies that drop your books and have him pick them up.
Yeah. The stand by your car helplessly
so
and let him fix the tire.
My damsel in distress thing, yes, as in that is the one thing that I have refused to touch. I will not learn how to change a car tire. I'm dying to, but I will not, because I need to call him. I remember there's a time I was stuck and there were all these men around me helping me. I said, like, oh, can you imagine? And but borders had come, mechanics had come. Yeah, get him to sort me out. Like, you need to give him the opportunity to do something for you.
Wow.
That he can do. So, yeah, ladies, not in everything, but yeah, there are just some things for you to remain a woman. Really.
Wow.
I've given my trick away now.
He's not going to use it against you. Danny, any word to the guys?
Sometimes with us men, and maybe it's not your way. On the work side, it's rough. Maybe on the home front, things are not coming your way. I guess the key thing is to allow yourself as a man to be vulnerable before other men. Sometimes it's harder with your wife, your partner. Sometimes it's allow yourself to be vulnerable with other men. In that space, you find encouragement. In that space, you find growth. Space, you find learning. Because we don't know everything, but we need to get into a space where we allow ourselves to be vulnerable and admit we don't have all the answers, and it is okay to not have all the answers at that time.
Yeah.
It's okay not to be Superman. Sometimes you can just be simple Clark Kent going about life as is. Yeah, and it is okay.
It's okay.
And I think just one more thing. I think sometimes for the ladies, just appreciating, saying, affirming your partner for, you need to just say one thing that can give him enough fuel for a month or so, because you're sort of investing into his stand, and that goes a long way. Sometimes the world is hitting him left, right, and center, but just that one thing you said, or that point where you allowed him to lead, is what drives so, and that has been
just funny. Like I remember, our pastor, when we were getting married, said, as in celebrating when he killed a mosquito, like he killed a lion. Like, oh my God, got it. It was extreme, but it is so true. I know so many men, even when we've done that needs thing, so many men are yearning for affirmation. So just affirming him for the smallest thing, like if you have to hunt for them, there's even an app. I found an app that gives you tips. Today, write him a note saying thank you.
What's the name? What's the name of the app?
There's so many people.
What's the app called? I hope to get this one.
I'm waiting. I think it's, loving him. It comes from the love languages. So you fill in his love language. Tips every day on what, helping with this, making people about them. Then,
Wow.
I love it.
Yeah. So when he's encouraged,
send it to
I
us.
say, treat a man like a king. I'll send on the, I'll send it on the.
Absolutely. I love that. There's an app for it.
Yes,
Who
there's
would
an
have
app
thought
for
about it?
everything. Fantastic.
There really is.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need to conclude because of time.
Yes.
But yeah, Suchi, I'm sure you've got some.
Yes, I think what I would say is that for everyone who is listening, if there's something that you picked that you want, that you feel applies to you, please go ahead and apply it. If you're in the asking for a friend community or even the Ndoa community, please indicate there and just say, this is what I'm going to apply. Just again, just so that we can encourage one another towards the journey of transformation. And transformation comes as we apply the things that we are learning.
Absolutely. And we first of all, I just want to also say thank you to Danny and Diane. You guys are just incredible. Thank you for all the work you do in blessing couples, in blessing marriage. I know you don't have to. It's not your job, but you do it because you love it. And because of you, many, many couples in Uganda and beyond have been blessed. So we're just grateful to know you guys. And yeah, we'll have you back again. We'll definitely have you back again. We talked about the fact that this Saturday we have an event. We're going to be doing, it's called...
your money won't make you... No, your job won't make you rich.
Your job will make you rich. We're going to have details in the Ndoa community. So please link up to the Ndoa community. The link is there. And we're going to send an invite on that tomorrow. Just so that you have all the details for how to join that. And Danny and Diane, of course, are part of that community. So we'll have a chance to connect on Saturday. So with those few words, we just want to speak a blessing over you and over your marriages as we go into this. I know this was a painful conversation today, and there's a lot of hurt. By the way, there's a lot of pain in marriages right now, and I think COVID just exposed some of that. And so I'm going to ask you, Carol, if you just speak a blessing over the marriages right now, and especially those people who are struggling with some of the things that we've talked about this evening.
Okay, let's pray. Father, we thank you for the conversation that we have had today. We thank you that even as we talk about marriages, you, oh God, are so invested in our marriages. We thank you, Lord, that when we are weak, you are strong. And for those people who are right now feeling so frustrated or who are so harassed or who are in so much pain and so much discomfort. We thank you, Lord, that you have said you will never leave us, never forsake us. And so I pray for every one of those individuals. I'm praying, Father, for your Holy Spirit, for releasing of your Holy Spirit, even right now, just to minister your comfort, to minister your word of encouragement upon them. I'm even praying for a breakthrough this week, a breakthrough, Father, even in communication, a breakthrough even in understanding one another. I ask you, Lord, for a breakthrough. We may talk of things that we say, just do this or just do the other, but without you, Lord, we are nothing and can accomplish nothing by ourselves. And so I'm asking, Father, for your grace upon us, for your anointing upon us, for your peace upon us, and indeed that you give us the strength and the courage that we need to do the right thing. And we're saying, Lord, that we want to just be a community where we hear just stories of you working out miracles, stories of transformation amongst us. So we say, come, Lord Jesus, come into our marriages. We surrender our marriages to you. Indeed, we even surrender this night to you, praying, Father, that you'd protect us and that you'd watch over us, that you'd even give us wisdom wisdom to tackle the issues that are before us. We pray these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Well, thank you for watching. For all of you who are watching, thank you, Daniel and Diane. So good to have you guys. To everybody watching from whatever country, whatever part of the world you're watching from, good night. If you have friends who need to watch this, please make sure you like our channel, subscribe, send them a link if you think there's somebody who will be helped by this conversation. And we just love to have you as part of this community where couples are learning and growing together. So God bless all and have a wonderful, wonderful night. Good night.
Good night.
Bye, guys.
Good night.
Good night.